Keanu Reeves gets on his own motorcycle. Dealership disguised himself as a poor man. What follows will leave you stunned. Los Angeles, the metropolis of wealth and speed. Stars in upscale auto showrooms and designer stores were located next to Arch Motorbike, a dealership that is well known for its specially designed, high-performing machines. Within the showroom shone under dazzling white lights that bounce off sleek frames and gleaming chrome each. The bike was a handcrafted marvel, strong and made for people who, known for exclusivity and quickness, this was a playground as well as a store for Hollywood's elite stars, rich business people, and everybody ready to pay six figures for the experience. One-of-a-kind Travis Mitchell among the senior salespeople slouched against, browsing through his phone at the counter. He was employed at Arch Motorbike over years and was well-versed in identifying today's genuine purchasers from time wasters. Because of the slow business, he wasn't anticipating a lot, yet the glass doors opened, revealing a man wearing an scuffed boots, worn-out denim, and a cap concealed the most of his face and a little. His scruffy beard complemented his rough. He didn't stroll or have a dazzling appearance, entering with a sense of prosperity, simply another. Travis, a biker, believed. Keanu Reeves hesitated, looking around the showroom at the entrance. He looked at the motorcycles, but with a window's casual regard. Customer, but with the quiet gratitude of a man with a thorough understanding of motorcycles. He approached a gorgeous black, bespoke motorcycle with a sleek appearance. He ran his under the lights, glinting fingers along the frame, sensing this wasn't just a machine in terms of craftsmanship. He was aware that it was a piece of art, superior to everyone behind Travis, the counter, hardly looked up before. He rolled his eyes and said, "Here we go again." Another broke, he mumbled beneath his breath. A motorcyclist who was enamored with bikes but was unable to. He sighed and pushed his phone aside into his pocket and already came over. Felt that this was a pointless waste of time. Travis came over with the compelled excitement of a person who had previously decided regarding a client. He smirked slightly and crossed his arms as he stared in admiration as the rugged-looking man. "Nice bike," he replied, referring to his tone that is informal but condescending. Keanu took a while to reply to his. The smooth fuel trailed beneath fingers. Tank experiencing the design's precision. He gave a hesitant nod, acknowledging that the details are. "Travis, what is the engine power?" "It's gorgeous." Most of the people who walked lifted an eyebrow. Didn't inquire, just came to look at the motorcycles. Technical inquiries, but he wasn't. "Persuaded you to buy a bike?" He inquired about trying to maintain a neutral tone in his voice despite his. There was obvious suspicion, and Keanu laughed. His voice was a little bit quiet. Travis let out an inward sigh of calm confidence. This man was most likely simply another. He had seen many of them, dreamer. Those that were passionate about motorcycles, yet lacked the funds to purchase even the most affordable. He chose to cut the one that was on show. "Just to let you know," the chat was brief. "This baby isn't your typical bike. Handmade, custom-built, top-tier engine." Travis, the designer, tapped the bike lightly, "And she is not inexpensive." Allow the words to linger before, including. Keanu cocked his head slightly at 85,000. "If thinking about it, and what if I wish to?" Travis laughed a little and said, "Buy it." Not to offend, but he couldn't conceal his amusement. "We don't really do test rides, buddy." Keanu met his window shoppers look, but rather than becoming frustrated, his lips twisted into a tiny grin. "So this is how people were treated according to their appearance." Just intriguing, but he didn't respond. Rather than acting violently, he just nodded and kept appreciating the bike, taking on each little detail as though relishing the. In the meanwhile, Travis was already. He was growing impatient and had other things to do. Rather than amuse someone who was clearly not. Even the leather seats were within their budget. Of the bicycle pointing to the door. He said, "Hey man," with his thumb. "If you're just stopping by to check out this used dealership nearby, you may look for something more affordable." Although the language was informal, the meaning, it was blazingly clear behind them before Keanu could react to the windows. Open once more, and a new customer entered. As a tall, youthful entrepreneur in a pricey navy blue suit right away. Travis's attitude changed. His back straightened. His grin changed too. A flawless, businesslike grin, and the tone became pleasant and fluid. He almost greeted him in the afternoon, sir. Full of energy and searching for a new. The businessman barely nodded during today's ride, glancing at Keanu, who was still silently observing the black bike. Seeing the enormous disparity in, Keanu had seen enough treatment, took a step back while crossing his arms. Noticed Travis' abrupt change that occurred only a few moments ago. The salesman hardly gave him any time of day, but he was now essentially extending the red carpet to the Travis, a businessman, led the suit client toward the motorcycles with a wide smile. His voice is now animated, and we've possessed some of the best custom, top-tier motorcycles in the city. Performance, elegant designs, and naturally unparalleled artistry of the businessman nodded in agreement. I'm trying to find perhaps something strong and exclusive. Keanu grinned because of something in black. Ironically, he had that exact bike. Been appreciating Travis' smile. Then this one right here will be your favorite, remarked, pointing to the same. Keanu owned a custom-built black motorcycle. Questioned about one of our top models. Created by hand with excellent performance. This machine is more than just a vehicle. It's a claim. Keanu observed how Travis's tone had changed to the zeal, reverence, and a desire to please. Everything was set aside for the man. Travis went on in the lawsuit and of. Naturally, the cost of this gem is $8. $5,000, but for a man that suits your preferences, Yes, the businessman, that is not a problem. Checked the bike while massaging his chin. Lovely, but I might like some personalized alterations that we absolutely provide. Premium modifications, we are able to modify the engine performance enhancement with customized designs. Whatever you need, Travis remarked effortlessly while Keanu stayed close, casually observing a mechanic at the counter. Ethan had been employed at the rear and had seen the whole interaction. He was a young man with a sharp nose who love of motorcycles. In contrast to Travis, Ethan actually have some knowledge of motorcycles, people, and at this moment he was having trouble concealing his amusement, as he was well aware of Keanu Reeves' identity. Ethan was leaning against the desk. He waited for the time with his arms folded, of insight to strike Travis like a. The businessman circled the freight train one final time before trembling on the bike. His head is fantastic, but I'll have to. Before he walked, he said, think about it. Travis's face as he heads for the door stumbled for a brief moment, a glimmer of disappointment over his face, but he naturally bounced back fast. If you decide to go, sir, take your time. I'll take care of everything myself. The businessman offered you a courteous nod, then departed as soon as the door shut. Travis sighed and whispered. Keanu's calmness nearly had him at that moment. Voice interrupted, so I'll take. Travis hardly noticed the black custom bike. Looked up and he murmured, yeah, sure, you will. With a mocking gesture, already going for his phone to see if there are any new prospects, clients, but then something unforeseen. Keanu reached into his jacket as it happened. Pocket, retrieved a sleek black. He placed the credit card without saying anything. Run it on the counter, he said. Travis's over his phone. His fingers froze in midair. He glanced down at the card slowly. Black breath stuck in his throat. Unlimited card type. Just the extremely wealthy people were carried for the first time ever. Moment they first interacted, Travis stared closely at Keanu, not just at his worn out, his scuffed footwear, or his apparel. However, there was something odd about him. Something assured about this man. Something strong that Travis gulped down. This is a high-value transaction, sir. Typically, we confirm that Keanu called and tipped his hat back just enough to show. Travis's eyes widened as he revealed more of his face, as the realization hit him like, wait, this wasn't a ton of bricks. This was Keanu, a random biker. The owner of Arch Motorcycle, Reeves. Travis, the boss, became ghastly pale. His lips parted, but nothing came out. Before he had time to comprehend what was happening, Ethan laughed aloud. You took too long from the back. Ethan shook his head and called out. Travis's knees went weak since he had simply degraded, disregarded, and ridiculed the man who not only could, Keanu Reeves, purchase any bike from the store, but furthermore, had a cold sweat across the entire dealership, appeared on his forehead, and it was awful, extremely awful, and based on Travis recognized the delighted smirk on Keanu's face, that he was about to experience the most humiliating. Travis's heart at the time of his life thumped while he gazed at Keanu, awareness slamming into him like his mind was racing, recreating the tidal wave. Each and every one of his words was contemptuous. Tone, the caustic remarks, and the direct disrespect. And he was now facing away to confront his boss, Keanu Reeves. The consequences of his error weighed heavily on. Keanu's gut is still as tranquil as ever. Flipped the black credit card up, his penetrating eyes between his fingers. Keanu said his because he never left Travis. Soft voice that is infused within. Clear authority, where were you? Said before that. Squandering time on those who lack financial resources. Travis's throat dried up, so he opened. Ethan opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Shook while remaining beside the workbench. I told you to smile at his head, guy. Travis, watch how you treat others. Eventually heard his voice, but it was considerably weaker than Mr. Reeves' eye. Didn't know who I was, and I didn't mean any. Keanu raised an eyebrow in disdain, but imply any disrespect. He made a little. Travis shook his head and laughed. I came here just like any other client you. You judged me, not simply ignored me. Dismissed me just because of what? Travis felt the blood drain from my garments. Keanu sighed and leaned away from his face. Against the counter that I constructed, Arch Motorcycle Company has a single objective in intending to establish a location where each rider, feeling wealthy or impoverished, well-known or unknown, welcoming environment where individuals were treated with. He let the word to sink in before. You don't seem to have what it takes to continue. Travis's palms were sweating after reading the memo. He promptly nodded, saying, You're completely. Yes, sir, I made a mistake that I shouldn't have. Keanu, you, or anyone else was treated that way. Observed him for a while before. Rather than dismissing him immediately, unexpectedly, he handed him a opportunity to share with you what Keanu stated that I don't think it's necessary to get rid of people over a single error, but I do think, when given another chance, you want to continue working. Here, Travis frantically nodded. Yes, sir. From this moment on, Keanu said, do good. Forward, you handle each client with. Respect is irrelevant if they're donning a leather jacket or a suit. Recognized Travis's quick exhale and nodded and comprehended at that moment the manager. When Mrs. Davis entered, she was a stern no. The dealership was maintained by a foolish woman. Keanu is operating like a well-maintained machine.
Why are you wearing those clothing here? She inquired in a startled and worried manner. Keanu turned to her and spoke in just checking on the service with a serene grin. Mrs. Davis was curious about how our workers deal with various clients, Mrs. When Davis looked, her eyes grew wide. Between the pale-faced Travis and Keanu. Oh, I see that. Keanu turned back to Travis. Keep in mind that Travis respect is the cornerstone of our company. No matter how, the customer deserves it. Travis looked at them and nodded, feeling both thankful and humbled. Absolutely, Mr. Reeves, I will. Recall that Keanu presented his card to Ethan. Proceed with processing the. Ethan smiled as he paid for the black bike. Ethan rang up the phone with delight. Boss. By Travis stood there feeling modest and he was appreciative but also guilty that he had been him a lesson that would stay with him forever. And Keanu approached the sleek black motorcycle that is prepared for a ride. He gave Travis one more piece of never undervalue someone based on their wisdom, on their appearance, because you can never be sure who is observing the money being processed. The dealership's tension began to ease, but Travis continued to feel as though he was bearing an enormous burden of regret on his shoulders his entire professional life could have. Rather, Keanu Reeves, the guy, perished today. He had given him a stern judgment. Second opportunity, he wasn't certain if he merited it, but he was resolved to demonstrate that he did, while Ethan came back from the counter with a broad, "Your new bike is ready, boss." Keanu grinned as he ran, "Officially yours." Running his palm along the streamlined black body of the tradition. He whispered, "She's a beauty. You guys did a fantastic job with." Travis is keen to make things happen. I moved forward. "Are you okay with me?" "To make it clear to you, Sir." Keanu raised an eyebrow in his direction. "Now you wish to assist me?" Travis took a deep breath. "Yeah, I simply want to see." Keanu laughed and gave him a shoulder pat. "Calm down, I'm grateful for the effort, but I got." Travis exhaled, but he didn't even recognize that he was pretending to be. Keanu walked on the bike that the dealership expanded. Silent clients and staff observed as he modified his hold on his fingertips gliding along the handlebars. Regulates appreciate a man who is fully in his element as soon as he hit the starting. The throaty, deep roar of the roar of the engine filled the room. Sent a vibration through the floor. Gives Travis shivers even after. Over the years, Keanu's affection for, if anything, bikes hadn't vanished. Had only become more powerful. He revved the engine many times, making smiley noises. "Perfect," he said over Ethan's commotion, proudly beaming while listening to perfection. Boss Travis continues to watch in amazement. Couldn't refrain from asking the query that had been bothering him. "Mr. Reeves, what did you wear when you arrived?" "Like that, that is, you own the property. Might have simply entered like you. And Keanu would cut the engine for us." She gave him an approving smile. "And that's precisely the reason I didn't." "What do you mean?" Keanu leaned. Scowled. "Let me ask you a question. Travis, what if I had entered dressed in a suit? If I had come with, would you have bodyguards and cameras?" Travis hesitated and handled me differently. However, the solution seemed clear. "Yes, the issue is that." Keanu nodded. "Respect shouldn't be derived from having money or position or how someone perceives it. Ought to be freely provided to everyone." Travis's stomach twisted once more. Now, Keanu examined him for a second before nodding. "Well, then perhaps. After all, today wasn't a mistake." He flipped the helmet over his head, taking off the visor and giving one final nod in the direction of Travis and Ethan. Twisted the black bike came alive with a roar. He sped ahead, gliding with ease, leaving the dealership and going out into the. Travis observed on the road as the man he had initially written off as just another broke. The biker vanished into the horizon, ignoring the most crucial lesson. throughout his life, and as he returned to the dealership, he was certain that he would never evaluate a different client based on their reappearance as soon as Keanu rode out of the dealership, distinct from the typical consumer buzz. Ringing talking phones and mechanics. Travis continued to work, but he felt as though he were standing in a brand new, because he had transformed Ethan. Grinned and crossed his arms, saying, "Are you okay? You appear to have just seen a ghost, dude." Travis exhaled deeply, trembling his. "No, I simply noticed something." Ethan, who was scarier, arched an eyebrow and, "What is that?" Travis gave him a serious look. His facial expression was a reflection of mine. He had taken years of pride in having acquaintances he believed he could size someone up quickly, but Keanu today, that illusion had been destroyed by Reeves. Had demonstrated to Travis his blindness. Been a client who entered a middle-aged, a man wearing a faded jacket and Travis straightened his posture while wearing jeans. Rather of brushing the man off as he may have done so prior to greeting him with a sincere greetings and a smile from Arch. "Motorcycles, how may I be of use to you today?" The customer most likely blinked in surprise, anticipating the customary lack of interest from a dealership employee. "I'm just searching for." Travis nodded. "If you need more time, take it. I'll be right here, man, if you need any help." Grinned and relaxed a little, thanks to Ethan. Looked at you and gave Travis a back pat. Being pleasant, Travis laughed. "I suppose I've now figured out what it means to treat people with respect." Ethan grinned and took. They both laughed, "But you waited long enough." Travis knew in his heart that this was more than. Despite the slight change, this was a pivotal moment. Keanu Reeves had entered as a point client, but he had departed to become a teacher. And Travis would remember the lesson forever. Kindness and respect should never be based on appearances or money or status. Actual character is revealed in how we treat people we believe are incapable of helping. The world frequently rewards people who take action with honesty, but conceit and prejudice inevitably results in regret. You never know when someone will treat you with dignity. If you liked it, the roles may be reversed. This tale and have faith and compassion and respect for all. Make sure to like this video, click the channel subscribe button, and turn on alerts to ensure you don't miss an motivational tale. Your assistance is invaluable to us. Give rise to more compelling stories. I appreciate you watching.